Hello and welcome to Is This England, a show where we talk about old England games and ask just how England was this.
Today, we're getting into the World Cup spirit with a classic World Cup game between England and the US of A. It's the 2019 semi-final between Steph Houghton's Lionesses against Alex Morgan's all-dominating USA.
Time can do. Baby, you mean everything to me.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. A World Cup preview of sorts. And a World Cup review.
Yeah, it's
perfect. We're going back to 2019. Before we do, I'd like to just ask everyone who's listening to give us a 5-star review on whatever your podcast platform of choice is. Get in touch with us by email, if you like, at isthisenglandpod@gmail.com and follow us on social media at isthis_England. I'm going to have a sip of black coffee.
Get it in there. This is going to be big energy today. I can feel it.
Oh, yeah. We're off to a rambunctious start. Right. We do have a biggie announcement.
Oh, yeah.
Regarding the show, we are actually doing Is This England live, and it's coming to you live.
Thank you, Martin Tyler.
Exactly, on Saturday, November the 19th, 2022. The eagle-eared listeners will notice that is the day before the World Cup in Qatar starts, and 2 days before England's first game against Iran. We're going to be performing, wow. We're going to be appearing. What's the right word for podding?
Sounds like we're just going to go to a wrestling convention and just have people in a headlock. Yeah, I'll be appearing here with my 2x4s.
Really carelessly sign autographs, not even looking, just dabbing a pen on them. It's going to be at Whip in Lichfield. Nice upstairs room there for us, and we'll put tickets on Eventbrite soon. They will probably go very quickly.
Confident
of that. We've got a lot of hype around us at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be great. There's going to be a quiz about England. There's going to be
prizes. Oh, I've been doing the prizes. This is the best thing.
Nick's into his prizes. We may give some teasers as the day approaches.
I have overspent on quite a few of these, so let's hope they go well.
Yep. Invoice me.
Oh yeah,
we'll split it maybe, but I don't know. I've just kind of left you to your own devices.
Do you really want to put your name to some of the stuff that I've shown you?
Well,
old worn things that I've shown you.
People can win those prizes, as we say, on November the 19th. We can have an England quiz, a World Cup preview, so not just England, but looking at the World Cup as a whole. And we're going to run through a classic game. We've still got to prepare all that. Nothing has been done as of yet.
Some of the prizes have arrived.
Except for talking to the lads at the bar and getting some prizes.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at 2019 then. A World Cup year for the women's team. And a year where we have to dive deep and pick out something for the time capsule. Do you want me to go first?
I'd like you to go first.
You'd like me to?
Yes.
I'm glad I asked then. It's a movie.
Yes.
It's a movie about movies.
Oh.
And it's a movie about movies about movies.
Okay.
I don't know if that last one's true, but the first two definitely are.
Kind of, yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Does it seem that long ago?
2019.
That we were getting our big buckets of popcorn and going to the cinema to watch that film. And it felt like, yes, cinema is back.
Cinema is back from the 60s and the 50s and the golden age.
The golden age is back.
Yeah.
Because you've got the two biggest stars collaborating, Leo DiCaprio and Brad Pitt. I mean, that was pretty exciting, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. When I heard that they were doing a film together and it was Tarantino, I was well on board. And then I just tried to ignore everything else about the film. Like, I knew Margot Robbie was in it, and that was pretty much it. That's all I knew when I walked in. I didn't know anything about any of the other content.
I knew it would be linked to the Manson stuff.
Yeah.
Because, it was kind of billed as that in news articles. Manson film progresses Tarantino to direct, but what have you. It didn't really end up that way, but let's just talk about general feelings about the film. I watched it at the cinema and I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
I thought I'm probably kidding myself and enjoying it more because I want to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't think about it for ages until I watched it again on my own at home with a beer, and it blew my mind that time, the second time, and I was like, yeah, this is an incredible film. I think the pressure was off,
Yeah.
and I just let it wash over me more, and it was all the better for that.
I totally agree. I had pretty much the exact same experience. I was just going through it, and I remember I went to the cinema with our friend Ed, and I was just like, "Is this getting started soon? Like when's it happening?" And the kind of the last half an hour just really takes over, and it is everything then you want from a Tarantino film. Well, a lot of people want from Tarantino films of just the pomp and the craziness all around it. But I had the same feeling. And then when I watched it at home one summer's night, I just kind of fell in love with it and was just like, I had no pressure of going, right, where's the story going? What am I doing? I just let it wash all over me. And I just found myself loving every bit of it. There's some great acting in it. There's some great scenes. There's some just some of the shots in it in general.
And on that rewatch, you're not thinking, okay, I'm formulating my opinion, so when people ask me afterwards what I thought of it, I don't have to pick points to reference. Definitely worth. I guess we're both saying rewatch it then.
Oh yeah, I think it's the most I've changed my opinion on a film that even though I liked it, like on a second watch,
Yeah.
I just found myself just loving it on the second time, and yeah, I'd strongly recommend it if no one has seen it.
Another big hitter: Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Al Pacino was in that film.
God, he is. Yeah, he's in right at the start, isn't he?
Yeah, it's so good. I think was that his ninth film, and he's always said he would just do 10.
I think he's got one left in the tank, hasn't he? Because he's been on about doing like a really weird, gory Star Trek film for years that he's wanted to do, but he doesn't want to. Like, they're not going to let him do that. Basically, the studio, and then I don't know what he's got left really. I mean, do you think he's going to stick to it?
No,
No.
no, I don't think so. What's the point? Why would you just? Unless he feels really strongly about it, but I feel like he may have said it a couple of times when he was younger, perhaps.
Yeah.
And people have just kind of built up that it's going to be this thing. But
It's like putting something off, isn't it? Of just like, oh yeah, I'll do 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that'll never come round. And then here we are all these years later.
it's like your young rock and roll bands going, we won't be doing this by the time we're 40 because they're like, we'll never reach 40. And then
Yeah.
40 comes around, they're like, I'm actually really getting into electronic music now,
Yeah.
and we've got to have a different direction.
God, I can't imagine me on stage at 50. I'll be embarrassing. And then you look and Liam Gallagher's on there like he's 20 still, just
Yeah.
like arms in the air. It's that kind of thing.
Hobbling round. I'm worried for Liam Gallagher's heels.
His heels.
I don't know why. Whenever I watch him, I feel like I'm starting to see you getting older because you kind of hobble round. And your jeans are looking a little bit looser around the feet area.
Okay, that's
Look
good.
out for it. That's all I'm saying.
All right, okay.
All the best to him.
All the signs were there.
Oh no, yeah. Anyway, what's your pick from the year of 2019?
So for 2019, I am putting in The Summer of Stokes.
The Summer of Stokes.
Not a film.
No.
Not a film. This
A Brian Adams song?
no.
No.
So this is the summer of Ben Stokes basically going out and becoming the cricketer in the world. It's kind of the summer that made me fall fully in love with cricket.
Wow.
Like I was a fan in 2005 when there was like the famous England Ashes series and pretty much everyone in the country was watching it. And I've always enjoyed it. I always kind of went along with it, and when if it was on, I'd watch it. I'd get into series and whatever. But then never really hugely went into it with everything I had. I'd go to a few games and it was fine and whatever. And I went to a few Ashes as well. But I remember I got tickets for an Ashes series, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be actually clued up when I go to this, because you have to buy them in like a year in advance.
Yeah, so you give yourself a good run up.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to download a load of podcasts, read a lot of stuff about it, and properly immerse myself in it. And this kind of was the start of it, really, of me really loving it. So 2019 in the summer, the one-day Cricket World Cup took place in England, and England went into it in a unique position as being hosts and the best team in the world and favourites.
Wow.
So all the pressure on England.
Yeah. Brazil, shades of Brazil 2014.
Yeah. Well, and they were just undisputably the best team in the world. They were ranked the best. They had the deepest squad, all this kind of stuff. So they were in there, and they'd had a bit of a muddled start to the tournament. They'd played all right, but not great. And they'd had a really bad middle of the tournament where they lost a couple of games, but they beat 3 of the other 4 top-ranked teams in the world on the way to make it to the World Cup final.
So you couldn't say it was an easy run. It was doing it the hard way.
Yeah, because they played India in I think it was their penultimate group game, which they won at Edgbaston. They also played New Zealand to kind of confirm them going to the semi-final. They then beat Australia in the semi-final to set up the final at Lord's against New Zealand. And it's known as one of the greatest cricket matches ever. because it just ebbed and flowed throughout the entire day, and it just all came down to, well, Ben Stokes basically took it on himself because England were faltering and put in a performance of, I need to be here for the whole thing now for the rest of this, for our innings.
Wow.
Just to kind of guide us through it. And he just went into overdrive, really, and how he performed and even just dragged by the end of it England into, I think it's the first ever super over in a final as well. So kind of extra time, if extra time was very hard to
Super
get
over.
to. Yeah, so the scores were level at the end of play. So one side each would get an over to basically whoever scored the most, or in England's case as well with this, they'd already hit the most boundaries in the innings. So England would only have to better or equal New Zealand's total.
Wow.
And by the end of it, it just went crazy. And because I say, in one of the most memorable games of cricket ever, England made it there by the barest of margins.
This is the moment. It's Archer to Guptill. 2 to win. Guptill's going to push for 2. They've got to go. It's got Throat's got to go to the keeper's end. He's got it. England have won the World Cup by the barest of margins. By the barest of all margins. Absolute ecstasy for England. Agony for New Zealand.
Epic.
Fantastic. It really was.
I remember the family group chat, well, on Jen's side, blowing up her dad, just going, tell me you've been watching this, George. This is the greatest cricket thing of all time. And I hadn't.
See, I went to Wolverhampton with some friends and I watched it in a pub there. I think I'd watched the first innings. I think I watched New Zealand's at home and I went into Wolverhampton to watch it with some friends. Just to be in the pub to watch
Was
this was
the
incredible.
pub watching the cricket, or was the cricket on in the pub, if you know what I mean?
I think it was, I was there with about 5 people and we were all watching it,
Yeah.
and it really enthralled in it. It wasn't like an England game, like in football, where everyone in the pub's just going mad or whatever. But on our table, we were all really into it. It was just like nothing I'd ever seen before. And Ben Stokes was man of the match that day, but his summer wasn't done.
No, well, it's the summer of Stokes.
Exactly. He had more to do. He had more Stokes in to get on with. Yeah, there was the little matter of the Ashes taking place just 2.5 weeks after the World Cup final. So imagine...
A home nations after a World Cup.
Yeah, well, imagine a World Cup final that's being held in England, and England have won it.
Yeah.
But then somehow there's an extra World Cup that's around like an equally important Champions League run up. Like you have the quarters. You remember we had the COVID season?
Yeah.
And it was just, you had like a week of Champions League football. It was just that, and you go and win that as well almost. Or you partake and you are a big part.
So
in that,
like a World
basically.
Cup and then a bicentennial
Yes.
USA
Yes.
tournament.
Yeah, England went into the third test knowing a loss would see them unable to retain the Ashes. England found themselves requiring 358 to win, which would have been the 9th highest run chase in the history of the international game.
To win that third test.
To win that third test and stay in it.
So yeah, they're basic almost again for football terms. I'm gonna say that's like second leg of a Champions League semi-final, and you're maybe 3-0 down.
Yeah, or even like one of the group stage games of just like this, we've got to rescue something from this.
Yeah.
Or elsewise, the next game is just pointless and you're just hanging on at that point.
Oh, of course, because they keep playing, don't they?
Yeah, there was another 2 tests to go, but if England lost this one, that was it. It was done.
What did they do?
So England had 1 wicket remaining when Stokes went full God mode and unleashed hell on Australia, hitting the ball every part of the ground while his teammate Jack Leach just blocked at the other end. So the worst batter opposite you in your team, and you're just trying to protect him while also just trying to accelerate the score. And
What's blocked then?
so he just stood there basically, and just a ball would come and he just has to block it out until the end of the over when it's Ben
swap.
Stokes' turn, where he'll have a go at it instead. So it was,
That must have took ages.
I think it was like in one session of cricket this happened in, because
God, there's no way he got 358 runs.
not by himself, no.
okay.
Well, England needed, I think it was about 76, just with 1 wicket left, basically. Yeah, and there was just drama all along the way as well, when England neared the total, with Ben Stokes being dropped, Leach nearly running Ben Stokes out, and then the Australian bowler, Nathan Lyon, fumbled the ball. Capped off with Australia running out of reviews, and even if they'd have saved one, they'd have managed to get Ben Stokes out as well. So probably 4 different occasions that it could have gone the other way during like the last 10 minutes.
So is Stokes a first or second bats person, or
So he's like an all-rounder. So he comes down in like the middle of the order.
Yeah, yeah.
But, so he's incredibly good and one of England's better players, which is why you save them for the middle order, because like you're into the game, the ball's a bit softer, the bowlers were a bit more tired. Maybe they swapped it, but it was just, it's this or nothing basically. And yeah, Leach and Stokes' partnership was worth 76 runs, with Jet Leach contributing just one of those runs.
Yeah, but what a one.
Oh, yeah, it's known as like there's people with shirts which says Leach like one on them.
Yeah.
And just for that, basically, just because he stood there and he's a lad that's got glasses on as well. So in between like every ball, he'd have to like take his helmet off, take his glasses off, like wipe them because they were getting steamed up because it was in the middle of
Yeah.
the summer, and put them back on. And yeah, the rest of it was complete when Ben Stokes finished his innings with this.
Cut away for four. What an innings, what a player. Take a bow, Ben Stokes. The Ashes well and truly alive because of one cricketer, and that cricketer is Benjamin Stokes, the cricketer for England in 2019. Incredible scenes.
I'm lost for words. That is one of the best days cricket I've ever seen, one of the best innings I've ever seen on a test arena. His team was gone. They were down and out, they were buried. Mixed up in a run out with Josh Butler. It looked at that stage then that the test match was slipping away, but not while that man was at the crease. He would have none of that. He has played an unbelievable innings. Finishes 135 not out of 219 balls. And could that be a series-defining and series-changing innings right there?
Even more epic.
Yeah, just incredible, really. And unfortunately, England went on to draw the series and not win the Ashes back. But I don't think I've ever seen a summer of sport quite like it, especially being defined by one person in a team sport as well.
Oh, I'm disappointed they didn't win it. Summer of Stokes are winning a draw.
Winning the World Cup, the first time England ever done it, and then the rest of the England team was so bad, but it was just known as him being the person to drag them through it, basically.
And wrestling a stalemate from the jaws of defeat.
I know, yeah, not
A Hamilton reference I've made on here before.
Oh, there you go, over mine head.
Yes. So well done, Ben.
Ben Stokes.
Well done, team. Well done, Quentin.
Yeah,
Well done, Brad.
Quentin, Brad, all the lads are in there with Ben Stokes. They're gonna have a great time.
Yes.
A film that Tarantino would make about Stokes would be terrifying.
Is he a character?
Ben Stokes. Yeah, there's a film that came out about him recently, like a documentary. There's a I can't remember his name now. He's quite a good big film director, and he made a film about Ben Stokes and kind of brought it out in the time when Ben Stokes wasn't playing cricket anymore because he'd taken a step back from the game for his mental health because he'd been diagnosed with depression, and just kind of was like the interviews they start off with him. He looks like he's really ill, like he's got a physical illness because he's just long stare, not answering questions. And then by kind of the end of it, by the time it comes out, the film, Ben Stokes, as we speak, is the England cricket captain. He's kind of reinvigorated English cricket with the coach as well. Stuck with his big attacking mind of we want to entertain people now. So he's a big character from that. He's been through a lot as well. Some of it his own making, some of it not, like of controversy as well.
Yeah.
Nearly went to prison, so he wasn't allowed to go to an Ashes series because he had a fight outside of a pub. Essentially, it's a whole big thing, really. But yeah, I think one of sport's most recognisable people these days, especially in the cricket world.
Okay, we move on. Why are we covering today's game then? It's a World Cup semi-final from July 2019, England versus USA, women's. Do you care to explain to the listeners why we've gone back into this realm of football?
Yeah. We covered the 2022 Euro win for the women's side and just kind of fell in love with the team, really. We were just gushing, and I've listened to that one back and just really love the journey we went on over the course of even a couple of days with it, really. So we wanted to take a step back and see one of the main points which led to the Lionesses' glory in 2022 by looking at maybe one of the building moments.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it, a building moment.
Yeah.
And also, by the time this comes out, we should have beaten them. Well, it's already happened, and we've already...
And did you enjoy it?
Yeah, we've already
hopefully
beaten them.
we've caught you here through the algorithm of wanting to hear about that game, but this is a different game.
I think when we've done jokey predictions on videos for Instagram ahead of England games, we've gone, wasn't it funny, those 3 wins in the Nations League?
Yeah.
And it's been the worst results for years. So, Yeah, well done, USA, on,
Yeah.
on your victory on Friday night. Let's have a look at the state of football in 2019 then. Obviously, we're looking at the women's game. The 2019 UEFA Women's Champions League final was competed between Lyon and Barcelona and held in Budapest. Lyon would run out 4-1 winners on the day, which was the 18th of May, making it their fourth successive Champions League title and their sixth overall. Big numbers,
Dominance.
big Real Madrid-esque
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah.
Leon, I wonder what the well, I'm guessing it's to do with investment and things like that. But you'd imagine that PSG would be one of the bigger teams, especially in France.
Maybe they just don't even try and hide that they're like trying to do good, like
Yeah.
they're pretending that they're just like, oh, the women's team, yeah, we're not allowed women in Qatar, so sod that.
There were also a couple of big English stars on display in the final, as there should be in any final. You had Lucy Bronze playing for Lyon, Tony Duggan starting up front for Barcelona. Duggan was one of only 2 non-Spanish players for Barcelona, with Lyon containing 5 non-French natives in their first 11. So kind of keeping it real in a sense. I do like it when, well, it never happens actually, but I would like the idea of, building, say, the best English team and in club football and having a core of English players and then some foreign talent around that, a la Manchester United back in the day. Yeah. Man City, not so much.
No, just the one. He's pretty good, but not happen. They just kind of sell theirs on, don't they, for all that?
City have got a few.
Homegrown, I mean.
Yeah, you got Foden, Grealish, and Stones.
Grealish and Stones aren't homegrown, though, are they? Very expensive from memory.
I'm with you. They've actually got more English talent than I give them credit for, but still, no.
Yeah.
Not for me, thanks. Not for me. The Champions League final was lit up by Norway's Ada Hegerberg, though, who scored a hat-trick in the first 30 minutes of the game. In 2018, she was the first recipient of the Ballon d'Or Féminine. Oh. And is currently the record holder of most Women's Champions League goals in a season. And she's also the highest scorer in that competition's history. She's seen as one of the giants in women's sport and one of the great footballers of her generation. What about the impact on the national team? Has she had a similar sort of impact on Norway, one of the big players?
Norway are usually quite a fancied side in terms of history. I think they've won the World Cup twice in their history, not while she's been there, but after making her debut for the Norwegian national team in 2013, Hegerberg went on to score 42 goals in 74 appearances in total for the national side. Although in 2017, Hegerberg made the decision to step away from the international game until the Norwegian FA took women's football seriously again. And she only actually returned in March 2022.
So all of her criteria for it being taken seriously had been met.
Yeah, well...
That's interesting, isn't it? It's like, I'm not coming back until you've taken it seriously. And then they've done it. It's taken 5 years, but she's gone, all right, fair enough.
That's
yeah.
acceptable. We can do this now.
That's interesting. No way. Well, good on her.
I think so. Yeah, she's like you say, she's one of the big sporting icons in women's football. And I always remember it was a disgusting thing when she'd won the first Ballon d'Or. I don't know if you remember this happening. The person who was presenting it with her was like, "Oh yes, you've won this now. Well done. Do you want to do a twerk with it?" And she was like, "No."
Oh,
It's like, why are you
I
here?
do kind of remember that.
I hope you never work again, mate.
It's just some in the head. Don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything stupid. Tits. No, I didn't mean that.
What have I
I
done?
meant congratulations.
I mean, just what a cretin.
Alan Partridge. Was it Alan Partridge?
It's quite Partridge, isn't it? Just like, well, there's no fun. That's what all the girls do, isn't it? It's like, you're a cretin.
All right, build up for the game we're covering today. Let's start with them giants of women's soccer, the USA.
Yeah, for context of today's game, we're going to start with USA and kind of how they got here by setting the gold standard in football. This USA side are seen as one of the great teams in women's international football, the benchmark of what England want to be. They'd won the previous World Cup 4 years earlier in Canada with a 5-2 win over Japan. Oddly, Japan and the USA also contested the 2011 final, which Japan won on penalties. So 2 powerhouses there.
It's interesting how you say the sort of benchmark as to what England want to be, and just how they're playing each other today. And I don't know. I feel like in men's football, there's quite a lot of different sort of benchmarks and different continents where the benchmarks are set, and you rarely get to actually test yourself against them, and things never kind of work out. Whereas it feels like today's game is very much just like we're built up and we're ready to have a go at the big guys, almost like a boxing
Yeah, yeah.
thing where you've worked your way up the ranks and then you get to have a go at the proper undisputed heavyweight.
And even with the women's game as well, it seems that some of the better teams do play each other in various competitions, which we'll get onto shortly as well. But there does seem to be a bit of a brewing rivalry now of maybe USA and Japan was a big thing for a couple of years because they'd been in consecutive World Cup finals. But we've really got to look to the coach, Jill Ellis, to see where all this came from, really.
That name sounds familiar.
Jill Ellis is an English football coach.
What are you doing, Jill?
Started her coaching career in 1988 as an assistant at the NC State Wolfpack.
Like it?
Great name.
Yeah.
She'd go through club football as an assistant manager and then a full coach until taking the job of the US under-21 and under-20s manager before becoming an assistant with the full team in 2008 and again in 2011. She'd be the interim women's manager in 2012 and 2014 before getting the job full-time with the aim of qualifying and winning the 2015 World Cup, which she accomplished.
Well done. I mean, that's efficient.
Just ticking all those boxes off there.
So that's two interim roles, 2012 and 2014.
Yeah, so seen as not being good enough for that at that point, like you would imagine. I think this happened. Has someone done that for the England's men's side previously, I want to say.
Oh, I don't know.
I think
about
Howard
that.
Wilkinson stepped in for a game. I want to say Peter Taylor as well. I remember
Oh,
David.
so we're talking short-term interim manager.
Oh yeah, it wasn't for too long. She just came in when there was a period where they'd had a game on, and it was like, well, you need to take charge of this, although we're not going to give it you properly. Like I think that happened at Spurs. Like David Pleat always used to be that person for Spurs. Like he seemed to be like their manager for half a year because they couldn't find anybody, and it was like, oh no, you're done now, David. Just wait around for a bit, will you? Go back to the comms.
Jill is from Portsmouth.
She is indeed.
Oh, Jill, why have you left us?
Why have you gone and conquered America? You've broke America.
She's broke America. She's broke the world. 2015 World Cup accomplished. So at the 2019 World Cup, USA are looking to retain their trophy and win the title for a fourth time. To do so, they need to get past Chile, Thailand, and previous winners of the tournament, Sweden. I'm not sure exactly when Sweden won it, but we spoke last time about how they're kind of a mainstay at the top table, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the USA would get things rolling by keeping a clean sheet against Thailand, whilst also racking up 13 goals in the process. So a nifty 13-0 result.
We've got the nil. That's what we need right there. But 13 straight away.
I feel like in women's football, you get like, I don't know. They're not afraid to absolutely shellac the other team, are they? Whereas,
oh no, and I think this is one of the characteristics of the USA side that they are ruthless as well. They will,
especially at
yeah,
the top
they
level.
will batter a team. They will not take it easy. It's seen in Italy and maybe in Germany. I know definitely for men's football at least, is that like after a certain point it is disrespectful to keep going. And I always remember Ferguson saying after United beat Arsenal 8-2, or just going, oh yeah, I didn't enjoy that. That wasn't right. And he was very defensive over Wenger and all that stuff.
Yeah, and obviously you say it's like maybe a German and Italian thing, but with so many managers from there in our league, in the Premier League, it kind of all merges into one, which is why I just found it interesting. But yep. Unlucky Thailand.
Yeah.
Minus 13 goal difference after.
Straight away. They've got a lot to do to get out of that group, haven't they?
Ben Stokes needs to step up. Captain Alex Morgan scored 5 in that game, starting the campaign as she meant to go on. This game was followed up by a 3-0 win over Chile, with Carlo Lloyd helping herself to 2 goals as the stand-in during Captain Morgan's absence. Is that a rum reference there?
It is indeed. And actually, Owen Morgan is a captain as well of the England's national side in the 2019 as well. So there we go, 2 Captain Morgans in 1 year.
Wow, that's enough for me.
I'm pretty sure when England won the 2019 Men's Cricket World Cup, I had a pint of Guinness and a Captain Morgan just to celebrate, because I was like, why not? When am I going to get to mix these again?
Lady boys.
Not in the same glass, I must stress.
Anyway, the final group game between USA and Sweden would decide who would finish top of the group. Lindsay Horan opened the scoring after 3 minutes before an own goal from Joanna Anderson sealed it for America. The USA were drawn with Spain in the first knockout stage and would take the lead through Megan Rapinoe after 7 minutes. But Hermoso of Spain equaled shortly after. But Rapinoe scored again, this time with a penalty, to send the USA through to the quarters. Rapinoe. Should we have a quick moment to address?
Rapido.
Well, probably the most famous women's footballer.
I'd say so. Yeah, definitely the most recognisable, the most famous, the most talked about. I'd say.
I think it's that thing where really good at the sport is one thing, but I guess being outspoken about conditions or what have you, or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
to do in the sport that's above the level of playing, that'll get you more widespread notoriety. Not that's what she did it for.
Yeah.
She just did it for the reasons that she wanted to. But yeah, somebody who probably gets a lot of stick on Twitter, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember in maybe my more brain dead days of kind of just being like, "Oh, she's annoying, isn't she, man? She just pops up all this
I
time
think I
talking."
think you might
and-
have think that because of the USA's dominance as well, and it's not England.
Yeah, maybe, but I kind of wasn't. It wasn't a thing that they were playing England or whatever. It was just more the point of I remember just kind of seeing things being very angry and just go, yeah, I don't like that either. But I just like I look back and just go, well, fucking, what's the problem? Like
Yeah.
it's a very good sports person doing sport very well.
And in that vein, they've got through to play France in the quarters, and Rapinoe again scored twice to put the USA in control, and ultimately put them through to the semi-final despite a late consolation for France. So I guess with ease, really, USA have progressed to the semi-final, and using a sort of a long-term system, a mainstay at the helm.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been around the women's game for a long time. I think you see where I'm going with this. 'Cause
Go for it.
Let's move over to England. Who was managing England at this time? Which women's football icon was managing England?
Well, when discussing any era of English football, we usually start with the manager, and today that is Philip Neville.
Phil Neville.
Enter the Fizzer.
Enter Fizzer. What? Why?
Yeah, it's
Why?
it's seen as a very strange appointment.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's get through this.
Current
let's
manager
be-
of who are they? LA Galaxy.
Inter Miami.
Inter Miami. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Sorry, yeah. No, LA Galaxy's a bloody step up from
I
them.
know.
From that mob.
Yeah, just to see, let's get his credentials in order. Let's go through and be fair and see if this is worthy of pointing. So Neville was introduced into coaching in 2012, helping England under-21s assistant Brian Eastwick stand in for the under-21s manager Stuart Pearce.
So assistant to the assistant manager.
Yes, essentially the Dwight Schrute route. So basically, Stuart Pearce was managing the under-21s at the time, but had to step up to the full men's international job when Capello was gone and Hodgson was going to step in, but they hadn't appointed him yet.
That one game
one
where
game?
Mika Richards was called up, I think. Yeah. We spoke about that before.
Was it his last game or something as well?
Probably, yeah. Oh, God. That
yeah.
was against Holland, wasn't he?
It was a 3-2 loss, remember? I'd love to do that game one day. It sounds crazy.
I'm not sure that it's filmed.
It's not, it didn't happen.
No, it would be out there somewhere.
Oh, mate, the gold mine will have it, don't you worry.
So is that all of his credentials? Is this what gets him the job?
No, so he remained in the England setup, and during this time he would be overlooked for the England men's under-20s manager, as well as the Everton first team job until he joined David Moyes' Man United revolution.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
So that's what sealed the deal then.
Yeah, and after there were no worlds left to conquer for Moyes at Man United, Phil and his friends bought Salford City, where he and Paul Scholes stepped in to manage the team for a few games.
What the hell is happening there?
The biggest definition of job for the boys that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, just like, I don't know, literally using it as a plaything.
Yeah. Phil then joined Nuno Espirito Santo's Valencia in July 2015, where Nuno would remain in charge until he resigned in the November, leading to Phil's brother Gary taking over at the Mestalla. Both these teams were backed by, I think it's the Thai businessman, I can't remember his name,
Right.
Peter Lim, I think it is.
Yeah.
So they were both owned by him. They were like, well, they're doing such a good job over there. Let's bring that to Valencia, this top flight historic football
So
club.
Nuno was there managing Valencia, minding his own business, and then the guy's like, Gary and Phil Neville,
Well,
use them.
Well, I think he apparently resigned. I don't know what it was due to, but he just said that he just wouldn't do it anymore. And I'm almost certain that was his last job before he took over at Wolves, was Nuno.
Yeah, potentially. So Gary was there as well, right? At the same time as Phil, or did
No, it
Nuno
was just-
resign?
Phil was there first with
Nuno?
With Nuno from memory. Yeah, he was there before. I don't know what Nuno saw in him.
No, he
But-
didn't.
And then brother Gary came in. Brother Gary didn't do so well at Valencia and was sacked, but brother Phil would stay for a period of time for the next
man
coach as well.
That's ludicrous loyalty to Valencia. So if it was me and they brought me in, they sacked the guy and then brought my brother in to
Yeah.
manage, and while I'm still there, and then sacked my brother, I would be gone.
You think so?
I'd be saying in the first instance, I was here first. I'm the younger, better looking brother. Make me manager. Why have you had to get him in? He should be my assistant, if anything.
Because he's a pundit and he's good on TV.
Oh, God. Well, he did great, didn't he? Surely there's no more honours to add to his bow, and that is what seals the deal. Leaving Valencia after helping his brother with one of the worst managerial records of all time.
And then sticking around for a little bit longer to help the next person settle in, basically.
Yeah.
That is it, really. Yeah. In January 2018, Philip was appointed the England women's national manager, signing a contract to the end of the scheduled Euro 2021, which England would be hosting.
Can you kind of have a think about what you believe the logic of that decision to be? Are they thinking he might be the next great, or they might be thinking he's the best we can get?
Is he the most high profile of the time as well? Because we'll probably do it in a game. I think we should revisit one of these as well around this time. The English manager's job was up because there was a big controversy regarding the coach and some of the players as well. So it just happened overnight, basically. And then they're just like, right, they're in the middle of World Cup qualification. We need someone else in. And maybe Phil just blew them away at the interview. It'd only be a couple of years since Southgate had taken over the men's side as well and was, a bit of an unknown quantity too. So maybe they just thought, you know what, he's impressed in the interview. He's got coaching credentials. Maybe he came highly recommended.
There was a bit of a controversy when he was appointed, and I'm just recalling this at the time. I think some tweets came out about women making breakfast and things like that.
Oh, really?
And then he deleted his Twitter. Yeah.
I remember he didn't know like the correct Spanish, and basically he tried to say on his Twitter that he was going for a walk, but instead he said he was going for a wank.
Yeah, I remember
that being on the ramble.
He deleted Twitter. So at the time, Phil said, the squad's on the verge of something special, and I believe I can lead them to the next level. A very boring, generic PR statement there. I am very honoured to be given the chance to lead England. With the new coaching team we are put in place, we can help the players build on their great progress in recent years. The Football Association's Director of Women's Football, Baroness Sue Campbell, said, I am really pleased we have got Phil, and we will build a brilliant team around him that covers every base. His enthusiasm, passion and desire for the role impressed us all, similar to what you said. Mm-hmm. And once he emerged as a candidate, we knew we had the right person for this talented squad. But then again, bit of Twitter drama, so it's not got off to a great start, and it seems strange in retrospect, but probably at the time I can imagine myself going, that makes sense.
Yeah, most likely. And as people who, haven't really followed the women's game, especially at that point, you just knew it was there kind of a thing, and Phil Neville was in the job. You were just like, okay, maybe, because I'd totally forgotten that he had some coaching credentials at all, basically, instead of being like a part owner.
Yeah, and managing the team that he owns.
He's so going to have the smallest part in Salford. Like, I've never seen him on any of those documentaries or anything.
He's always busy.
Busy coaching, mate. Busy coaching. Nuno's moving next week. I'm giving him a hand.
He gets a bit of moving house. Yeah. He gets a bit of a tough start, really. No rest for the wicked, because England go into the She Believes Cup.
Yeah, an annual round-robin tournament held in the United States, this time between England, the US, France and Germany. England beat France, drew with Germany and lost to the hosts USA on the deciding game, really. So that was the game they could have won it if they'd have won that game, but not to be.
So just coming up a bit short against the gods, the top tier.
Yeah, I mean, France and Germany especially are two really good sides. Germany, I think, were just the forever European champions when we looked into the 2022 final. They just hadn't lost it for like 4 years or something, I want to say, until maybe the Netherlands. The Netherlands had done quite well, have they, as well at that point. But yeah, Germany had just been an ultimate team.
So after the She Believes Cup, the team looked back to World Cup qualification. England had already been set on their way to qualifying for the World Cup, going unbeaten in qualifying and only dropping points at home to Wales in Phil's first competitive game in charge. Nikita Parris and Tony Duggan had both shone brightest in qualifying, scoring 6 and 4 goals apiece as England racked up a plus 28 goal difference.
Dominating, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Do you think San Marino were in the group?
Well, Thailand weren't, so there you go. We've got that one in there too.
Yeah, so we're back to She Believes Cup action.
Yeah, we've got another one here. It's the She Believes Cup, just like the Nations League, is just never ending, really. Another one came along in the March of 2019. England started the campaign with a 2-1 win over Brazil. Ellen White and Beth Mead on the score sheet, where the USA could only draw a paltry 2-2 with Japan.
Oh, come on, USA.
Cracks starting to
Yeah,
show.
the bottle in it.
Yep.
The bottle in it.
Yep. USA then drew another game 2-2, this time to the Lionesses, leaving
Yes.
England in the box seat to win the tournament if they could defeat former world champions Japan. They duly do so 3-0, making them She Believes champions, setting themselves up well for the World Cup in a few months later.
Shades of Le Tournoi.
Exactly. We're seeing it all come together now. And while still not beating the US counterparts in that 2-2 game, there was a belief that they could hang with the very best teams in the world, especially this all-conquering USA side.
And hang, indeed, they did, because it's World Cup 2019 time. England were drawn in a group with Argentina, Scotland, and former world champions Japan. So fiery clashes there, really. You've got high level competition. You've got Argentina.
You've got stories.
Yeah, in Scotland, there's narrative all over the shop. The first game got started on the 9th of June. England would play Scotland in Nice. Nikita Paris got England started with a penalty on 14 minutes, with Ellen White adding another before half-time. Scotland pulled one back with 11 minutes to go, but we held on.
We're still in it. Just start off the way we mean to carry on, doing well.
Neville, however, was forced to make some changes for the second game against Argentina. Millie Bright, Ellen White, Keira Walsh and Karen Bardsley were all either injured or rotated for the game. England got a penalty in the first half, which Nikita Paris missed. The Argentina keeper, Correa, denied England with some excellent saves until Jodie Taylor scored to make it 2-2. England would round off their group stage, beating the previous World Cup finalist Japan 2-0. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
Just chalk that one off. You're doing all the right things now. Two rivals of storied time in there, and then a former champion. Yep, done that one too. And actually beat Japan twice within the space of a year as well.
Yeah, Ellen White scored 2 goals in that game, where more changes were made by Neville, seemingly giving minutes to players on the fringe of the team, such as Demi Stokes, Georgia Stanway, Tony Duggan, and Rachel Daly. We then get to the knockouts and a game against Cameroon.
And it is a controversial one, this. So Cameroon's...
She does not believe it.
Thank you, Victor. Cameroon's Ejande was due to have passed the ball back to the goalkeeper, who picked up the ball, resulting in an indirect free kick to England, which Steph Houghton duly scored. Ellen White scored her 4th of the tournament right on half-time, which required a VAR check to confirm she was onside. After the second goal, the Cameroon players appeared to refuse to restart the match, with some of the players visibly distraught and arguing with the referee at half-time. Cameroon thought they'd pulled a goal back, but it was disallowed for a marginal VAR offside decision, with the Cameroon players again refusing to kick off in this period.
Well, you don't like to see it.
No, it's really strange. I don't think I'd ever seen something like this in a game of football before, but VAR is still quite a new thing. It had been at the Men's World Cup the previous year, and it is still just being tested out. I think we see in today's game at points, you see that there's things that they brought in back in the day, even if it's as close to 2019, where you just go, they don't do that anymore. And it all seems a bit more, I don't know, disciplined in certain ways, but then a bit free flow in others.
Yeah. So like you say, a lot of controversy, but England did just finish the job. Third and final goal came from a well-worked corner routine, ending with Alex Greenwood sweeping home. At full time, Neville said about all the behaviour and the to-do.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like football. That wasn't a last 16 tie in terms of behaviour from footballers. I mean, that's not last 16 tie behaviour. This is going out worldwide. I didn't enjoy it. The players didn't enjoy it. My players kept their concentration, but those images are going out worldwide and young girls are seeing that behaviour and it's not right. There has to be a standard of behaviour that you have to do, and my players did that. Steph Houghton has since said it was the weirdest game she'd ever been involved in. Very weird. I think Yeah, I'd like to know exactly what constitutes a last 16 tie behaviour.
I know, yeah. Like, can you imagine some of the men's sides like how they behave if they went out? It's just like it's not exactly. Oh, this isn't befitting of the last 16. Like it's
Yeah.
really prestigious, like a banquet or something. Oh, you can't do that in here. It's the last 16.
FIFA would investigate the Cameroon players' behaviour, sort of refusing to kick off and a bit of rough tactics as well, I think, maybe out of frustration. The referee would also receive criticism for letting the game get out of hand, which seems harsh.
Yeah, I mean, what if the players literally won't kick off? What
Yeah.
are you going to do? I understand that she could have booked players or maybe something a bit more, but it's almost kind of like out of the rule book of like, right, just wait a minute, just checking through the rules here. Don't worry, right? Yeah, it says rule 973. If the players refuse to play,
Yeah.
what do we
yeah,
do?
Exactly. And if she would have sent everyone off, that would have been out of hand as well.
Again, they'd have been like, oh, we've ruined the game, blah blah blah.
In the quarterfinals, England faced off against Norway, who, as we mentioned, were without Ada Hegerberg. England were ahead inside 3 minutes with Jill Scott's goal and doubled their lead when White scored 5 minutes before half-time. That's a nice first half. England wrapped up their progression to the semi-final as Lucy Bronze scored a scorcher into the roof of the net from outside the area, and that sets us up for today's game.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, and although I was sceptical, Phil's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing okay with his team, isn't he? You never know quite yet if it's the team or him, but I think really giving players some minutes as well, which is a big part in this tournament too. Having to deal with injuries as well, and making sure everyone feels a part of the team.
Let's have a look at the teams then. In goal for England, we have Carly Telford. In defence, we have Lucy Bronze, Steph Houghton, Millie Bright and Demi Stokes. Midfield, two of Jill Scott and Kira Walsh. Ahead of them, we've got kind of wingers, attacking mids, Rachel Daly, Nikita Paris and Beth Mead, with Ellen White leading the line. Notable subs, Mary Earps, Fran Kirby, Leah Williamson and Georgia Stanway, all of which we've already seen in action.
Exactly, yeah. Leah Williamson, it was interesting to see that she wasn't a part of the team at this point, because I think she was a midfielder who would go on to be a defender for the side and captain by the time the Euros roll around as well. It's interesting that when the anthems are playing, it focuses quite heavily on her just when they're on the bench, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe she was a big like emerging player. Like, why is she not in the team? All that kind of stuff. I don't know. It was. I just found it interesting that a player that I recognised and it was there, and the camera dwelled on her for quite a long time.
Carly Telford in goal, Nick. Are you happy to see some Telford representation?
Oh, I loved seeing the word Telford in there. Yeah, I really was.
I knew you would be. But yeah, Mary Earps was such a standout in the Euros final. But we've got a new keeper to meet.
Yeah, but we almost had a different keeper to meet as well, because goalkeeper Karen Bardsley is injured for this game, and this is why Carly Telford is playing in her second game of the tournament as well. So it's good that she has already played a game for England at the World Cup as well. I think it was only something like a fifth cap, I want to say.
Interesting. Beth Mead preferred to Tony Duggan, who'd not scored in the last 14 internationals. And Ellen White had scored in every game of the tournament she'd played in. 5 goals in 4 games.
Yeah.
Good going.
Yeah, very good going. Was it just lethal in all these games as well? Also, we've got Demi Stokes starting her second successive game at left back due to the absence of Alex Greenwood. And at the same time as well, in the Cameroon game, Jill Scott broke Peter Shilton's record for England appearances in World Cup finals. Way!
Well done. Well done.
And had extended that today to 20 games.
Well done. I was just going to say, it's kind of... It's Phil's kind of working with what he's got, which is a very talented squad, but feels like he's had to make some forced changes, and he's gone with it, and he's also let people work their way into the tournament and kind of make themselves undroppable as well.
Yeah.
So whereas in 2022, that team they knew exactly what they were doing from the goalkeeper to the last substitute. Phil's got a different kettle of fish to work with, but he's got them this far, and they're coming up against the USA. Nick, do you want to give us a rundown there?
Yep, in the USA side, goalkeeper Neher, and then O'Hara, Dal Kemper, Sauerbrunn, and Dunn. Midfield 3 of Horan, Ertz, and Lavelle, with Tobin Heath, Captain Alex Morgan, and Kristen Press in the lineup. So
you'd hope that Kristen Press would be leading the press, wouldn't you?
Oh, I know. She must be so sick of those jokes.
Big omission.
Big news, no Megan Rapinoe.
What? It's like the Euros final.
It
where
is, yeah.
The Germany's sort of
Pop.
That was it. I could just have Klopp in my head. I was thinking it definitely wasn't Klopp, but yeah, she was banging in the goals, and so was Rapinoe. But it seemed like almost like a bit of a Ronaldo at the France '98 thing, because the commentators before kickoff were kind of, she must be injured, but we've heard nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? No one really knows what's happened in there. And I think she was just injured, but the USA had kept it so tight as well without saying anything. And yeah, Rapinoe had excelled in the tournament for USA, but not even taking part in the warm-up is super secret hush-hush time, replaced by press.
Yeah, let's have a look at the kits then. England in white with red trim on the arms. Pretty good.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Certainly better than the current kit England fucking got, I'll tell you that.
Which I actually like more, having seen them playing it.
Disgusted.
The red USA kit has got quite a lot going on. It's kind of some cool, funky patterns.
Yeah, it's almost like weird blocky camouflage, isn't it?
And one more observation on the wardrobes. Phil Neville is wearing hand-me-downs from Gareth Southgate, isn't he?
It's like he's gone to a joke shop and gone, can I come as Gareth Southgate?
Yeah, it really is. I imagine it's just a simple sponsorship deal with M&S.
I mean, it is, but does he have to wear the waistcoat?
Exactly.
It's the waistcoat's the big problem, isn't it? And I don't know, there was something rugged I quite like about Southgate back in 2018 with that one. And he'd made it such a big thing. When I went to the Ashes in 2019, there was a man dressed in, he was a Southgate impersonator.
Oh, God.
And he was kind of in there, and I'm just like, I don't like you. Like, everyone's kind of over this now. Like, and Phil Neville's still in there, still getting it in.
We get to the anthems, and it's quite well, two very, finely performed anthems, really. They're not exceptionally bad. They're not overwhelming. It's not your man, the little Mick Hucknall from the game previously. Anything of note from the performances for you?
So 1 point for the English national anthem. It's all going perfectly fine until the camera focuses on Phil Neville right at the end, and he looks like Curtin from This Country.
The blue eyes and the
Yeah,
kind of sharp features.
Gauntness of it all. And he clearly spots himself on the big screen, doesn't know what to do, so he just stares out the camera. The camera blinks first and moves on, but the look he gives the camera is just terrifying.
He must have just been, I don't know.
But not terrifying in like a you better know what you're doing here. Just a kind of like weirdo who doesn't know his own strength type.
The USA one kicks in as well, and all, feels like the crowd are up for it more for USA. I feel like it's like they're the big team, aren't they? They're the juggernaut.
They've brought the big following, seen it done all before. Yeah, I'd forgotten there was a second verse in the US national anthem as well.
I don't mean to sound bad, but I can't hear it without thinking of Borat.
That's very true, actually, isn't it?
Yes.
The one thing I did notice, there was a man holding up a scarf which just says USA military veterans. That's very niche. Very niche for the swagman to be selling that outside.
Maybe it's not from the swagman outside. Maybe it's from like a military veterans convention.
Yeah, but like there's loads of people with these, and I just think, what, you're printing up a scarf with that, and you're bringing that to the game. It's like Bull Wranglers of Texas, these really niche ones of like, deep dish pizza in aficionados of Chicago. That's the one I want to see next.
Well, it's game time. England versus USA, 29 Women's World Cup semi-final, July the 2nd, 2019 at Parc Olympique Lyonnais. So the home of the Champions League winners.
Yeah.
England start off quite shakily, misplacing some passes. They survive an early scramble in the area, and Jill Scott is lucky not to pick up a yellow due to just kind of trying to fix this sloppy start.
Yeah, it's all a bit chaotic at the start, and like it's just one of those games where you just can't see. England have just started badly, and they're trying to right it, so they're trying to overdo things. And I think Scott extends herself, and it's not a great challenge. And as I say, lucky to be avoid a yellow card.
USA, they had managed to get themselves ahead in by the 13th minute of every game so far in the tournament, and they do it again.
Here's Heath. Can't let her pick up pace. Tobin Heath cuts inside. Walsh got a good footing. Nice dummy. Kelly O'Hara will reach this. It's in! Press with a header. It's a brilliant cross. And Kristen Press heads the United States in front. And they've done it again. in front inside 10 minutes. You cannot keep them out. They are so fast out of the blocks, so aggressive in the early moments of the game. And it reaps dividends again. It's a lovely dummy here. Kelly O'Hara profited. What a super cross and a fantastic header at the back post by Kristen Press. Her 49th goal for her country. It's a brilliant header. Telford, Bardsley, any goalkeeper you care to mention, they're not saving that.
Press.
Too much bloody press.
The press is in.
I tell you what, though, they've scored early.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Yeah, well,
Confidence for England.
Have we conceded early enough?
Oh,
is what I'm thinking.
what does that mean?
Is this good? Is this good? Is this kind of like, right, get your heads on now, because we've seen a lot of England scoring first and it never really works out. Maybe if they score first, have we tried this yet? Maybe this will work.
It's a really good goal. Do you want to run us through?
Yeah, just a few minutes in, and it's been coming, really. The US attacks came down the right, and England survived a really dangerous situation from Rose Lavelle forcing a save, but they're not lucky twice. Tobin Heath is blocked kind of down the right-hand side with nowhere to go, seemingly, but fullback O'Hara is making a really good run on the right. She plays it through, and thanks to O'Horan playing like a good dummy, so good that she basically disappears as the ball passes through her, where you thought she was never there and it was an all optical illusion. It goes straight through to O'Hara. She stands up across at the far post, and Press waits for it to come, and then bullets a header straight into the top of the near post.
Yeah. Really good header. Really good. A really good cross.
Yeah.
And
Lucy Bronze looks really gutted with herself. You can see her kind of like put her hands up and just be really frustrated that did she know she was there? And
it's kind of one of those things. The cross hangs in the air for what seems like a while, and nobody's really moving. They kind of just watch it, and then it's almost as though that last 2 feet or so is made up by Press in like a split second.
Yeah, it's almost like Bronze doesn't know she's there. It's like one of those crosses that looks like it's going out, so no one really does anything with it. But it's in the middle of the box. Like you just think, oh, that's never going to come down. It's fine.
A bit of stats and trivia. So, as we mentioned, have they scored too early? 6 hours and 29 minutes it's been since England had conceded a goal. Of course, it was going to be a crucial one when it did happen. Obviously, because of that, this is the first time they'd been behind in the tournament. USA, on the other hand, have led in a World Cup game, are leading, in a World Cup game for the 40th time, and they've never lost after taking that lead.
I mean, that is Germany-esque, isn't it? When all the times we go through Germany of like Euros and World Cups, and people are like, actually, do you know they've never lost a World Cup game since 1986? And you're like, that can't be true.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, this apparently is true.
And we crack on then. It's early enough that we can. There's plenty of time for us to recover, and let's just crack on. But we look shaky. We look shaky. You overcome the sort of the voodoo and the awe of the USA team at the She Believes tournament, showing that you can go toe to toe with them. But it looks like a big task to come back from this. When they take a 1-0 lead early.
Walsh. Aim towards Beth Mead. 3 in the box here, England. Mead's cross, White! It's in! It's a brilliant equaliser! Ellen White for England, it's 1-1. It's her 6th goal at the finals. She scored in all 3 group games. She scored in every game she's played, and she's done it again. England won, the United States won. Ellen White, brilliant goal.
The big task just got easier.
Yes. They've scored. If they hadn't scored, we've scored too early, but they have scored, so we've levelled it up.
That's fine, right? Can we all agree that's fine now? We've not scored too early, even though it's in the first 15 minutes, because they've scored.
Is this uncharted territory?
Biting back so early.
Yeah, like with that whole situation. Yeah, we've scored too early, but they've also scored earlier.
Yeah, I think this is new waters for us.
Wow. Yeah, as you say, the big task we have just got a bit easier. England keep the ball with a bit of purpose for the first time in the game, and they score from it. It's very un-England that, but hey, this is what we're dealing with the women's team in 2019. Arranging ball out wide to Beth Mead, who crosses with her left foot, and White is there with a great right foot finish into the far side of the goal. It's right into the top of the stanchion as well, in a quite a similar way to the press goal. I can't think there's a goal that it reminds me so much of, and I just can't think of it. It might be Harry Kane in the Nations League against Croatia, maybe, but it's that whipped ball in, and you think just get a leg on it, but then that's still quite a lot of work to do. So it's a really good finish.
But this is so much more skillful than that as well. I totally agree what you mean. She's got to get a touch in it, but White opens up her body and foot to make the ball kind of drift into the far side of the goal when she's on the left of the penalty area as well. And on replays, you see how she lets the ball kind of skid off the inside of her foot, kind of like just slightly deflecting it in. And the fact she automatically looks to that side of the goal as well makes you see that she's executed her skill perfectly.
I love the celebration, but I don't know what it is. It's almost like a glasses, goggles thing, isn't it? Two circles around the eyes.
Yeah, she's made it her own thing. I did watch an interview about the Cameroon game with a couple of England supporters, and they did mention what it was, but I can't remember. But I love Ellen White from us watching a couple of these games, and the celebrations are great. She's just always up for it. She's like the world's angriest baby bird. just like, yes, I'm here. Come on.
She looks quite like, I don't know. It's just...
She's got such an emotive face, and I love it.
That's it. Yeah, it's almost like I'm just reading, actually. It's a tribute almost to Cologne striker Anthony Modeste.
Oh, yeah, the Modeste celebration. Yeah, because I think he does the upside down eyes one. This is a visual thing, not an audio thing that I'm doing to Jordan across the table.
Sorry, I was just doing my Googling there.
Yeah.
Anyway, 1-1. We both scored too early each. Let's start again.
Yeah. White's sixth of the tournament as well, which makes her the outright top scorer so far.
Well done, Ellen. Let's move a bit forward with the game then. Well, we haven't really mentioned the commentary much. This is a fully legit stream that we're watching, isn't it?
Oh yes, that will make another appearance. Yeah, and I thought I could hear Phil Neville cheering England on the side of the pitch. But it's the amazingly loud French commentator next to our commentator as well. You can just hear the screams. I thought it was him going, "Get in there, back of the net," but it's just unintelligible to me because it's French and I'm English. So
the game is being played at such a pace. England, USA are starting to come at each other so quickly.
Harris for England. Stokes drilled in. Oh, it was so close to an own goal. My goodness me, Becky Sauerbrunn is so fortunate here. Kira Walsh with the ball into the box. Sauerbrunn's volley had danger written all over it. That is so close to being an own goal.
And England almost score.
Oh, yeah, almost score through a sliced clearance from Sauerbrunn as well. Stokes receives the ball outside the area and floats a low straight ball into the area. But Sauerbrunn gets like a swinging leg on it and it just flies past the post. And it's nearly the exact place where Ellen White had just scored as well. It's like a big magnet to that part of the goal.
I know, just homing missiles. Tell you what, that would have been so good.
Imagine straight away the turnaround as well. Oh, they fucked it up. Brilliant.
Yes. Anyway, another 15 minutes have passed. So therefore, it's time for another goal.
It's been a terrific half hour. 1-1 in Lyon. Press, Haran, lovely ball, Morgan! Fabulous goal! Alex Morgan, on her 30th birthday, on her return to Lyon, where she served Olympique Lyonnais with such distinction, on the occasion of the 2019 FIFA World Cup Women's semi-final, heads the USA back in front with her sixth goal of the tournament. Lovely move. It's a great ball in again. Demi Stokes was left marking Alex Morgan, and it wasn't really a contest. Alex Morgan.
Fuck.
Okay,
This is what juggernauts do. This is the problem with juggernauts.
they just are relentless.
yeah, they always hurt you when they give you a bit of hope.
Did we equalise too early?
Could have held that out for a little bit longer. It's an excellent goal from the USA, and it's another excellent header in the game. The USA switched the ball from right to left, and there's a lovely bit of chest control from press, instant chest control to kind of get the move really flowing. They have 3 players in close proximity, but press chooses Horan, who is 6 yards outside the England area on the left, who knows Morgan is making her run from the right. Horan clips one into England's area. Morgan gets in front of Stokes and heads home USA's second, and the goal that puts them back in front after we're talking about sort of 30 minutes in.
Yeah, I think it's almost bang on 30 minutes. 'Cause I think the commentator says it's been a great 30 minutes so far, and it's just like, and another goal.
Oh, commentator.
I know. USA with some sustained pressure brings the goal. England needed to kind of like drop back because USA were coming at them that much. And there was an incident where Daly had kind of done really well to win the ball twice. And then she's just got no one to pass it out to, goes back to the USA, and they just come again. And you feel, even in like that short space of time, they've just gone, actually, yeah, I can remember what we were supposed to do at the right time. And yeah, the pass and the header are superb as well. The cross puts it on a plate for Morgan with her run, but the header just gives the keeper no chance whatsoever. It's kind of like in the middle of the goal almost, but it's so close and such a bullet header, there's no chance.
Yeah, it's a great goal, and guttingly, we've got it all to do all over again, ain't we? We actually almost re-equalised straight away through a curling strike from Walsh, but it's pushed wide by the goalkeeper. And from there, the game starts to get a bit physical. Millie Bright gets booked for an arm into the face of Morgan, and straight away after that, Horan seemingly tries to keep the ball from Jill Scott and thumbs Scott in the eye, the classic Mourinho move.
I know, yeah. It does get a bit dirty at this point as well. And you can see Jill Scott's really not happy with it as well. The fact that, and it was brilliant because you can hear Phil Neville going, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same. Like to the referee who's really close to him as well.
The game kind of continues in that frantic, frenetic, sort of almost ever so slightly aggy atmosphere right through to half-time.
Referee calls time on the first half, and never in the history of Women's World Cup semi-finals has a team come from behind at the break to win. That's what England face here. Ellen White with her 6th goal of the tournament, coming between 2 headers to the United States. The first from Kristen Press, the second from Alex Morgan. Half-time in Lyon, England 1, the United States 2.
And we're there.
And we're there.
And what a half of football. It's one of those big stakes games, it's how you'd always hope a big stakes game would go. If you look at the Euros 2022 final, that was more on your sort of feeling each other out.
Yeah.
It really, like, one mistake is going to be the difference. Whereas in this, there's a few mistakes already. There's goals, there's rage. But it's just going to have to be who can throw the most punches.
But it's high quality as well throughout the entire thing. And it just feels like a goal could come almost at any time. I mean, USA are on top, kind of better all-round team play, I'd say. And the players all over the park just knowing what they're doing, constantly on top of their game. And you feel, they've been here before, they've done it, and they're equipped to do it again.
I think the goal, the first goal, the equalising goal from England, despite it being sort of wiped out, has given them a lot of hope that they are in this game, because 2-0 at half-time, it's not great. But they've already come back once. They can do it again. There's still plenty of time to go.
Yeah, looking dangerous as well. My only worry is that they've used up the guaranteed Ellen White goal. Do you ever feel like that in a game of like, well, we're going to have the goal from that person, so that's guaranteed, but like they've got something else. They've kind of used it up already, like a special move.
Yeah, I know. I do know what you mean. And you mentioned that kind of worries you. There's a big old worry at halftime on our stream because we get a COVID warning video. This seems early, right? When was COVID? Wasn't that 2020?
Yes.
And this is July 2019.
So the stream we're watching it on was something that was uploaded by FIFA during the pandemic to make people kind of stay at home and watch the game.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we kind of get this. So, and you can tell this is a legit stream as well. It's on YouTube. It's FIFA branded. So shut up, Squares. This is where we've watched it.
Yeah, absolutely. You get such legends as Arsene Wenger there saying we need to put health first.
Shall we run down some of these colourful characters? Because I've got something to say about each of these people, I think.
Okay, Wenger then saying we need to put health first.
So Wenger takes about 40 words in this to say 5. I watched the whole thing throughout this as well. And he looks like David Tennant playing Dennis Nielsen.
I think he looks like Beaker from the Muppets / with Kermit from the Muppets, and he does look like him. And he's wearing the same shirt as David
Literally,
Tennant.
the glasses are the same, everything. It's just like he's slightly, well, he's older, obviously, with the grey hair. But I just looked at that and was like, who is that? Jesus, it's David Tennant.
I like Potch's one because he's sat by a piano, I think, and a sort of a really just generic cartoon drawing of himself.
Well, I think it's a Stanley Chow painting, I think.
Okay, sorry, Stanley.
which is good. But yeah, Poch in his house, what looks like a piano, and he's got the Chow picture behind him, but it kind of almost looks like your man from the Wolf of Wall Street, you know, Kyle Chandler, the cop. I can just see him in that, really, with his little stubble and the hair, like the parting's the right side and everything. It's just so weird.
I also like his line, which is so from the heart. You know, it's just off the cuff, isn't he? Please wash your hands frequently, if possible, with an alcohol-based hand solution. Yeah. He's just gone off piece there, hasn't he?
I know, yeah. These guys do like deliver all these lines, but yeah, every now and then they just keep popping up. There's someone else who pops up. There's a man with some giant glasses.
I was going to say, I don't know who he is.
I don't know who he is either. It's maybe the longest pair of glasses I've ever seen in my life. They almost go down to his mouth. They're that big. It's insane.
I mean, they're Nile Rodgers' glasses.
Yeah, no, but they're just like Elton John would go, they're a bit big for me, those are. We also get Casey Stoney as well, and she looks like she's in the interview room of Line of Duty.
Definitely.
She's kind of just got her arms folded of like, right, I'm taking over this fucking investigation here now.
Talk to me about Jose.
Jose, he basically, he's at Spurs during this time. I thought about this, and it was of the time when, do you remember that those videos came out about him, and he was kind of like delivering food to people.
Right, yeah, that does ring a bell.
He was delivering food to people, but he just looks the most slobbish man in the world at that point as well. He looks like one of like the sticky bandits or something, and he's just like, oh, is someone looking after you?
And at one point, well, not at one point, his quote is, in terms of social interaction, take a step back.
I love that. Just be a hermit. Don't talk to anybody if you have to.
But he's going out there and he's delivering bloody food.
Yeah. I mean, brilliant thing he did, really, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's not following his own advice. He's taking a step forward with social interaction. I know it's for a good cause and it's the right thing to do. Also, just, yeah, Jose. I mean, again, it's just... He's being made to do this, isn't he?
Yeah, it's weird PR that he's just like, how can I get out there and do this? But kind of, it's just I think the gloves are just really pervy as well. I don't like his gloves in the picture as well.
Who's the FIFA man?
So the FIFA person is Infantino, is like the top of FIFA, and I think he's the baldest man who's ever lived.
Yeah, he genuinely looks like an egg. It might be because he's on a white background.
But the point of that head is so fierce and over the top. I mean, he also looks like he used to be a referee and is wearing the jumper out to like a National Trust home. Like he's just in there. We also get Jill Ellis as well, the USA's national manager too at some point. Clearly Americanized, because the commentator during one of the game says, oh yeah, heavy English accent, Jill. And you're like, really? Like, unless this happens in 2 years between like the game and the video coming out, or a year, I must say, I don't really know where that's come from.
Let's get back to the game.
Let's leave the baldest man who ever lived.
And let's leave coronavirus in the past.
Yes.
But still do take heed of Pochettino's messages. The second half starts with another England player being caught in the face, this time again by Horan, who is booked for it. Jill Scott is right to, she's right up in the ref's grill to tell her what's what.
I love that. Yeah. A free kick is comes in. It's headed across by Bright, and White can't get it past the goalkeeper. It'd have been offside if it had gone in anyway. But White seems such a dude when I've been watching this game, like constantly just in someone's ear, pulling faces, like sarcastic, like clapping the referee as well. It's like she's had a pill or something. She's just constantly like wide-eyed and into it.
Yeah. Also, Jill Scott famously using foul language in the Euros final, so it's good to see that she's...
Oh, yeah.
That's a long-term sort of...
Always been a bit of a swearer.
Yeah, loves a swear. There's a bad challenge from Ertz on Scott. Both go for the ball. Ertz gets there first, but also follows through on Scott. The referee doesn't actually deem this a foul. and the ball is given back to the Americans.
Yeah, it's a strange one because they both go into the challenge really hard, and I think the referee kind of almost just goes, all right, let's stop this, like bumper cars hitting each other. But when you look at the challenge, like the
It's bad.
It's Ertz. She like really leaves one in on Scott. She gets there first and wins the ball, but you can see her foot goes straight through the ball and through Scott too.
This is juggernaut behaviour as well.
Yeah.
This is very atypical juggernaut 101. This is just getting a bit dirty, winding you up, and things just kind of going their way as well.
Being a toxic juggernaut, this is, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
But also as well, I love the camera angle throughout this game. I don't know if you thought anything about it, but it's like old school pro where you could see all of the pitch and all of the players. Maybe it's not just pro, it's FIFA as well, but it is gorgeous, this camera angle. You can see it's like a weirdo tactics bloke would put this on their, Sky TV sometimes. We're like, oh yeah, we've got the tactics cam for the nerds.
Absolutely.
But this is like a manageable, digestible tactics cam. You can just see where everybody is at all points, basically.
I do like it. We move forward and England bring off Mead, who's actually looked really good. On comes Fran Kirby.
Yeah, I loved Frank Kirby when she came on. Kind of reminded me of Sonic the Hedgehog, just really short and quick and like kind of to the point.
That's two gaming references that you've got in there.
Yeah, not even a gamer.
But Carly Telford almost gifts the USA a third goal.
Yeah, short pass to Horton, doesn't really reach her, and press shoots, but there's like two players on the line and it's away from the goal anyway. And it's a big let off really for England. Like they could have wrapped the game up there maybe.
It's been quite a quiet sort of 20-minute, first 20 minutes of the second half. England starts and they really do need to take some chances, though. It can't afford to stay quiet like this. And if they get any chances, they need to take them. The game is starting to slip away from them.
Walsh, Scott round the corner. Ellen White's in for England, and Ellen White scores. Cool as you like. Ellen White equalises for England again. It's 2-2 in Lyon. You cannot give Ellen White space like that. There's only one outcome if you do. Clearly onside. Ooh, mind you. It's flicked into her by Jill Scott. My goodness, that's close. My goodness me, that is close. No doubt about the finish. Ellen White into the back of the net. VAR are having a look at that to see whether Ellen White hadn't just strayed. This is agonising now for England midway through the second half of the game. This is going to be a crucial call here. What tension now. Jill Scott flicked it round the corner. Ellen White met it. Ellen White tucked it into the net. VAR says offside. It's no goal.
It's goal!
It's goal!
It's goal!
You bastard!
You bastards!
We've been done again.
Fuming, absolutely fuming at this because they were in full celebration after the goal and it's been bloody ruled out by that fucking robot VAR.
I know. We even see the celebration.
Yeah, the celebration fully comes out. You must get so annoyed if you've got a celebration. You're like, oh, I'm looking like a dick now. It wasn't even a goal and I've used it.
I mean, what do you think of this then? Can you run us through what's happened?
Yeah, it's Walsh plays the ball into Jill Scott, and it's a lovely flick actually behind one of the USA players. Plays in Ellen White, through on goal, slots it past the keeper, pop bang lovely. Celebration comes out, and you just think, yep, back in it. England have shown some real grit and determination. And the commentator then they start going, oh wait a minute, this may not be good. And he starts getting a bit panicky, and he says by the faintest of margins, similar to the Ben Stokes by the barest of margins. But yeah, this is so close. And the commentator sums it up quite well, which is what I've always thought about offside is is not a matter for debate. You're either offside or you're not. It's like, we're going to argue about this, mate. Do you not realise we're English?
Yeah, it's just such a shame. And it's shades of England. I started to think, I've seen this film before.
Yeah, wait a minute. I swear I've watched this somewhere before. And yeah, I agree with that. I thought about it afterwards. It's a brilliantly quick check.
Yeah.
as well. Like the goal happens and everyone's like overjoyed and all that, but there's never any. But there's a very quick sense from actually it may not be, it's not. So they're already annoyed by that's happened and it's been disallowed. And as you say, White does her celebration, and I love how red her hands are as well. Clearly, he's putting everything into this, and she's like some sort of like superhero mask on. It's
Yeah.
like that red.
I love that celebration.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the quality of the goal itself, even though it's not being allowed?
Yeah, I mean the flick from Jill Scott is out of this world. Really, Scott's really grown into the game in the second half and kind of forced England up the pitch, almost through like pure personality at times.
Yeah. We have to move forward.
We have to.
The shared collective voice of the crowd kind of got your attention at this point.
Yeah, you can kind of hear the Americans in the background as well, and they've got their own songs, but they're like proper songs. But it reminded me of like when you're in a crowd or at a festival or something, and the band kind of like go right now you, and like the crowd just sings something back to them with like all the music still going in the background.
Yeah.
It's like watching like Best of You by Foo Fighters if they're just doing that, and you can just hear it throughout as well. And it's like again another thing of, we've been here before. We've won it. We've got our songs. This is when we do this.
Yeah, but England are banging on the door now. Kirby in possession.
Moore. Fran Kirby. Oh, that's a good ball. Not square. Oh, no, is she fouled? Ellen White went over inside the penalty area. A goal kick has been given. Ellen White is absolutely incensed. Well, I suspect that the referee may call for VAR to have a look at this. England certainly want her to. Let's have a look ourselves here as it's played in to Stokes. She knocks it square. Was there a touch here? Watch for England's number 18 in the middle.
Oh, so close.
Bollocks. Kirby plays a great Javi-esque ball through to Stokes, who has evaded everyone on the left, and she plays the ball across the middle on a plate for White, the Predator White, who's been so bloody good, but somehow she misses the ball. There's a faintest of touches by Sobrum behind White, and England asking for it to be looked at.
Yeah, the commentator talks about the situation like England have asked for a review in VAR.
That's nice.
Well, it's interesting because like maybe
That's like the cricket thing, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's like you get a review of some sort and it's like, oh, well, you know, can you have a look at it? But maybe this is still in the early days of VAR and like, oh, can we ask? Can we
Yeah.
ask for this? And I think England are going, you need to look at this.
It's like if you think you've left your wallet at a pub and you're just
Yeah.
like, you know, your other half's like, just call them, and you go, look, I know the answer's going to be no, but could you just have a look for me?
Have you got my Roma jacket there? And they bugger off for like 5 minutes. So they go, actually, we have it. You're like, yes, everything's going to be great again.
Yeah, springing your step to go and collect it.
Yeah, just skipping down the road. And yeah, but it's interesting they ask for one. And you can tell VAR is like a real new thing at this point that they're doing it. The ref goes over to the pitch side monitor. When she does it, an England player kind of follows her off the pitch as well, as if like she's going to have a say in it. Like, right, ref, let me have a look at this as well. I've been here before, don't worry.
Cristiano Ronaldo vibes.
Yeah,
Such a him thing to do. Yeah. So we get a bit of VAR room action. We get to see it's all going on. We could see all the angles. We're seeing the penalty in real time. The replay. Sorry, we're seeing the referee review. We're seeing the VAR room. What's gonna bloody happen?
we also get like a look straight at the referee.
Yeah.
Like this, I definitely think is a thing in the Premier League has been like written out. There's no cameras when you see a referee and you look at their face because there's a period
Smiling.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? And you can
Just grimacing.
Yeah, well, there's a bit where the referee actually, like, I think it's the second time she sees it. She does kind of go, like, doesn't
Yeah.
really like it or not sure what she doesn't like. And you can't, and at one point you can hear her shouting, like, and I don't know what it's for, but it seems to be like, right, can you show me that last replay?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And you, as you say, you see the VAR room, which is really good because you're kind of going, oh, the VAR room, we don't get to see that anymore because, like, insane people are like, well, I can tell they're biased against my team.
Yeah, it's also just looks like it looks like a bad modern office, you know, like the soulless offices where, I don't know, people have just, I could just imagine it smelling of food in there, and like you seen like a Tesco meal deal or something.
Or someone's like, there's like a microwavable box from home.
Yeah,
And someone's
yeah.
like, I've just got my spag bol from last night.
Exactly
The
that.
yellow Tupperware that's but forever for spag bol.
But we've been sidetracked. What the bloody hell's going on?
Well, as this is happening, as we're looking at the spag bowl, there's White's leg. You can see there may be a bit of contact from the defender, and the ref goes and takes her time, seemingly asking for slower rates of the incident.
Well, with fewer than 10 minutes of normal time to play, this is a huge moment in this World Cup semi-final. Are England about to be awarded a penalty kick courtesy of the video assistant referee? We are about to find out. It's a penalty.
They've given the penalty.
No.
They've given it. And England have a penalty now to get back equalising on this game.
This is Southgate England tackle. This isn't classic hurt you England.
Yeah.
This is it.
This is different. This time is different. It's just quick to note as well at this point, England were awarded 3 penalties throughout this tournament. Nikita Paris scored the first one, but she missed 2 along the way as we're here today in the tournament. And it's not Nikita Paris who steps up. It's the captain, Steph Houghton, who will take this.
Steph Houghton. Alyssa Nair has to have 1 foot on or in contact in line with the goal line. Houghton here for England. Can she equalise in the semi-final? Houghton. Saved! Saved by Alyssa Nair. More penalty woe for England. They've missed 3 of 4 at these finals.
Bugger.
We've said it before, and we'll say it again, I'm sure.
It's not Southgate's England. It's fucking Phil Neville's England.
It's Sven's England.
Oh, this is such a Sven England, this, isn't it?
It's a bad penalty as well.
Yeah, it's not a good penalty at all. Low to the keeper's right and easy enough to save. Was Houghton the best person to take the penalty?
I don't know about
I know,
her.
and it's hard to say. I know, and all that. It's the person who steps up, but
It's hard not to know because she could have taken them for club, but White has just been like banging them in.
yeah,
you know,
she's in the rave. She's in there. She needs a bottle of water, but she's ready.
and she's clearly so up for this game. And Houghton's more of a defensive player, right? As well.
Yeah, she's a defender, captain, like a long history at England, captain too. But maybe again, without knowing and being from the point of education, maybe White was always a person of doesn't take penalties. You know, Andy Cole kind of almost famously never took a penalty, and Solskjaer and players like that. Some players, just strikers, are like, nah, penalties aren't my thing.
I'm just reading a little around it. She said that she was told on the day that she was on penalties.
Oh, really? Oh, Phil.
I know. He's got too clever, hasn't he?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. The USA know they've gotten away with one there. They're all over their keeper, and they are hanging on in there.
Paris. White. Paris. They reached it. Bronze. 4 in the middle for England. Couldn't be done. Acrobatics. Moore with the header. Flicked on. Daly. Paris. Half away. More shot blocked. United States suddenly being made to hang on. Millie Bright. Oh, Millie Bright's in trouble here. She's already had a yellow card, and she's just followed through with a challenge, which I'm quite sure the referee is well aware that Millie Bright has had a yellow card, and Millie Bright will be sent off here. The second yellow card has come out. Well, hold on. The referee has shown the second yellow card to Bright, and here comes the red. England are down to 10. Millie Bright is sent off.
Bright's off.
Yep.
Bright's off, and it's warranted as well. Really, it's a bad tackle from Bright.
It's just that they've had enough of. She's had enough of being part of this England narrative.
But she's got swept up in it at the same time, probably like trying to get back in the game, win the ball back quickly. Not got long left. Like it took 7 minutes, I think, for that penalty to be like for the chance to be missed and then awarded as well. But is this one of the maddest 5 minutes in English history? Really?
Yeah, you can compare the Germany Lampard to it, but this actually has more packed into it.
But like you say, so many things happened, don't you? So you've got the white chance, the penalty appeal, VAR review, the penalties given, the penalties they've been missed, and they've had a player sent off in that 5 minutes has happened to England. The USA have had to do very little for all that to just happen to them.
And there's not long left. The USA start to look to see the game out.
Let's have a free kick. 7 minutes were indicated. 7 minutes have been played. And the United States are into the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup final. Their third World Cup final in succession. The celebrations begin. They have had to work so hard for this. But the United States have done it. England are distraught. The USA will be back in 5 days' time. It's finished in the first semi-final. England 1, the United States 2.
And they do.
They bloody do. They've done it. Well done.
Oh, don't you little fucking slugs.
Yeah, I hope you're happy with yourself.
I know,
What a sad, pathetic little life.
Oh, you're trying to win another World Cup, are you? Oh, for fuck's sakes.
But yeah, England put in a really good account of themselves once again. They can definitely hang with the big dogs.
Yeah.
It's just the game a little bit short and we're a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, and they look absolutely exhausted by the end as well. They've played that last bit of the game with 10 players as well. They're out, but absolutely they put everything into the game, and to go up against the undisputed best team in the world, and actually not only hang with them for long parts of the game, but they were hanging on. By the end of it as well. They're doing all the things that you hate when you see another team doing it, of time wasting in the corner, all that kind of stuff, and seeing the game out. Something that actually in 2022 we were very in praise of for the England team in the Euros.
They got to learn somehow. It's a learning curve. Let's have a look at the aftermath for the USA. In the post-match interview, Jill Ellis is interviewed and says of her goalkeeper Naya's penalty save, "What a freaking stop."
And it's pure. She is American, clearly. She's got the American accent, especially when she's got fricking.
Yeah.
Have your English passport taken off you for fricking.
With the win, the United States extended their winning streak at the Women's World Cup to 11 matches, breaking the 10-match record previously set by Norway between 1995 and 1999, having last drawn against Sweden in the 2015 group stage.
Some record that is, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's not the end of the record. They would continue to extend their record by winning the final 2-0 against the Netherlands, where a certain Serena Weigman was coach of the Dutch side.
Interesting.
The US side would also set the record for most goals scored in a World Cup with 26, and with Coach Ellis becoming the first manager to retain a World Cup since Vittorio Pozzo did for Italy's men's side in 34 and 38. So that's good going.
Incredible, really, isn't it? To retain a World Cup of that most dangerous and beautiful beasts.
Let's have a look at England's aftermath. In Phil Neville's post-match interview, he makes a reference to England being down to 10 men.
A mistake. It's, the end of the game. He's going to go for the old kind of parlances, isn't it? It's because I went down to 10 men, and you almost see a bit of him just go twitching. Oh, fuck's sakes.
That's it about when I went to the beach.
Yeah.
He also said his team would win the third place playoff they had coming up in a few days. Big talk. I mean,
yeah.
It's at that point, don't brag.
I know. He kind of in the interview, he's like, well, it's all right. It was 4 days. It's Saturday. Saturday's the World with the third place game. Yeah, we'll definitely win that. I don't even know what month it is, actually.
4 days later, then, England would lose that game 2-1 to Sweden, finishing their campaign in fourth.
Bum, 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 ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Very Larry David. And again, he's very almost your man from Come Dine With Me about it.
Yeah.
Calls it a nonsense game.
I mean, he really was like, we're going to win this one, definitely. Then it's like, well, it's a nonsense anyway. Who cares?
That's not the bottom of the hill for Phil.
No, it's
That
not.
hill keeps rolling and he keeps rolling down it.
Yeah. Things start to get worse for Phil and his team. Neville's side go through and lose 7 of 11 games in a period, as well as failing to retain their She Believes title in March 2020, and the tide begins to turn.
In April 2020, Neville said he would be honouring his contract and stepping down after Euro 2021, but due to COVID, which Maurizio Pochettino and Jose Mourinho warned us about earlier, the Euros were delayed by a year into 2022, so he left his position early in January 2021, where he would, well, not he would take a little while, but not too long before he picks up a job as David Beckham's Inter Miami manager.
You've got to get that in there. David Beckham's Inter Miami manager. So another one for the boys.
And this is where England turned to Serena Weigman, and the rest is history, or ongoing history.
The rest is today.
Yesterday.
It is present.
Hopefully, she's led us to a victory yesterday, and if not, then sorry for bringing it up again.
Yeah.
Nick, was this England?
Yes, it had everything, didn't it? You know, playing against a better side, falling behind, hope, playing well, penalty heartbreak, red card, an elimination. I don't really think there's anything else that we could like tick off.
It's the greatest hits.
It really is, isn't it? And it's just kind of like the only thing would be like England scoring first, but they did score early, but not early enough.
It's a once upon a time in Hollywood of England moments, just mashing them all together.
Yeah,
and making something that's exceptional. It was a great game.
loved it.
Not the result we wanted, but there you go. You can't win them all.
No.
We'll settle for winning the Euros, baby.
And the next World Cup, which is next year.
Okay, of course. Exciting indeed. That's it. That's everything for now. Don't forget, we've got a live show coming out, so stay tuned on social media for details of that. Tell us you love us on social media and all of that stuff, and we'll catch you soon. Thank you.